meeting to order. Okay. Great. Maybe we should do a roll call.
Of course. I do want to also remind folks that we are live streaming and recording this meeting, and both of those have already started.
Thank you.
Wendy Clark. Heidi DeWinkert.
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Here.
Timothy Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno. Matt Puglisi. Lisa Tepper Bates. Greg Ugalde.
Here.
We do have a quorum in attendance for the meeting.
Are we expecting Sayla and or Lisa?
I'm here.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi. And is Lisa
She had
expected?
responded yes.
Okay.
That's so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure she'll join us then when she can. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. First item on our agenda is the resolution regarding financing for the homes at Avon Park, to be presented by Colette Slover.
I just want to interject, Heidi. Colette's going to present. This is a hybrid, so this is both a 9 and a 4. So
Yes.
rather than have her repeat the characteristics, she's going to present it as one combined deal.
Okay. So it seems to me we haven't ever combined them into one resolution. Is it just because it's a hybrid, we have to do it as two?
Yeah, I think it's better if we do it as two. We've got taxable debt on, we have tax exempt debt on one. We have a forward committed taxable debt on the other. So I think it's best if we keep it this way.
Okay.
But for the sake of efficiency in terms of the presentation, I'd suggest we do it as a combined.
Okay, good suggestion. Okay, Colette, you're up.
All right, sounds good. So this is a board action for the homes at Avon Park. As mentioned, this is a 4%, 9% hybrid transaction. The 9% portion was awarded 2025 LIHTC. The financing request for the 9% includes taxable bond, permanent only loan, and an amount of approximately $7,350,000 with a rate not to exceed 7.58%. There's a 35-year amortization and loan term. We are also requesting opportunity funds on the 9% of approximately $1 million. This is a cash flow loan with a 37-year term. And on the 4% side, the financing request for that includes tax exempt bonds, a construction loan of approximately $4,650,000 with a rate not to exceed 5.8%. This is a 24-month term. And the tax exempt permanent loan on the 4% side is approximately $2,650,000 with a rate not to exceed 6.5%. This is 24 months interest only with a 40-year amortization and a 42-year term with fixed payments. On the 4%, we are also requesting opportunity funds of approximately $1 million, and this is a cash flow loan as well. So as a total development, there are 100 total units. This is in a very high opportunity area. The 9% component has a total of 73 units, and 58 of those are affordable units. 15 units of supportive housing are included, and they will be benefiting DDS clients. There are 15 market rate units. On the 4% component, there's a total of 27 units. All of those are affordable, and there are 7 units of supportive housing, and those will also benefit DDS clients. The supportive housing units will benefit from rental subsidies, and services will be provided by Oak Hill. This is an approximate 11-acre portion of a vacant office park. It's near the historic downtown and has access to various public and private amenities. It will include community room and kitchen, fitness center, walking paths, playground, dog run, and a pedestrian path. The developer is Beacon Communities. The property manager is Beacon Residential Management, which is an affiliate of the developer. The general contractor selected is Haynes Construction. They'll be pursuing the National Green Building Standards at the Emerald level, and this is an all-electric building. All the utilities will be paid by the owner. There will also be solar PV panels. The closing and construction start dates are proposed for the end of 2025. Construction completion date will be in the second quarter of 2027. With regards to the out-of-pocket tenant paid rents, including utilities, approximately 22% of the market rents for subsidized units and 46 to 55% for the restricted units, the 50% AMI and the 80% AMI. And the market rate rents are the equivalent of 92% of the market rents. With regards to other considerations, for the 9%, we are anticipating DOH providing state bond financing of approximately $7,155,000. On the 4% side, DOH is looking to provide $5,820,000. There will be a full-time resident service coordinator on site, and the town will be providing a 20-year pilot. With regards to the conditions for the board action, we'll need executed DOH term sheet, and CHFA will need to approve the proposed condominium structure. And I'm happy to try and take any questions that you may have.
Heidi, I have a quick question too. So, Colette, when we hear the proposal, especially for something this complicated with the two parts, how do you determine the best way to set up the amortization and also the loan term? Is that by request or the outside date, 42 years? It just seems that you can get some odd numbers, but if it works, it works. I'm just curious how we get there.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Heidi. Did you want to?
Go ahead.
No, I don't. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah. So Greg, this is really driven by the bonds, right? So for the taxable, which is on the 9% side, we typically don't go past a 35-year term. We'll go with a 40-year amortization, but when the bonds get placed, we don't go more than 35 years. And this is it's all based upon, we try to maximize the amount of debt a property can carry, permanent, and based on a rate with an adder on it. We usually put a cushion on the rate so that we could, if rates come down, we could offer the lower rate, but we've got some cushion built in there in case rates go up by the time we close. And then on the TEB side, we'll go up to a 40-year amortization and a 40-year term. The 2 extra years is the construction period. That's typically what dictates so most of the time you're either going to see a 40 with a 35 or a 37, or you'll see a 40, 42, right? So that's, it's a combination of the amortization and the interest only period during construction.
But they don't match. In other words, one will mature before the other.
Yes. Yeah. Again, it's because we can issue 40/40 on the TEBs. So we could issue a 40M with a 40-year term. It's hard to place it. It's 35 years is essentially what we feel is the tolerance for a taxable bond placement. And so we'll do an amortization of 40 so that we can increase the debt. We can maximize the amount of debt, but we'll do a 35-year term to accommodate the bond market.
But I mean, and we probably all won't be here, but in 35 years, we're going to have to deal with one, and the other one's just going to be hanging out there.
There's a very good chance that these will be resyndicated or recapitalized well before the 40-year term. Almost everything we have gets resyndicated or recapitalized. There's going to be capital needs, and we've talked about this before, that these properties don't generate enough cash flow to address their sort of midterm capital needs. And so that's why you see a lot of these getting resyndicated after 15, 20, 25 years. So I think it's a very, very difficult prospect for one to make it all the way through to its maturity.
Okay. Did that answer your question, Greg? Sorry.
Yes, that was very good.
Okay. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm going to ask a question way out of left field, but Colette, I am curious. I know that we're not likely always involved on the front end, but how difficult, if you have any sense of how difficult this was to get through get through the process? I mean, like, when did it start? You know, what were some of the challenges? Any idea there, or was that all developer kind of led?
Well, I mean, obviously the developer did a lot of the pre-development legwork. I know the town has been supportive. They have a pilot. This particular building, there'll be other buildings proposed on the site. This one is new construction. The site was clean. They did, I believe, come in last year for tax credits, 9%, and did not get it. So this was their second time and they were successful. Pat, I don't know if you've got any other background you can
Well,
add to.
do you expect more affordable housing in some of the other buildings as renovations or other uses? Because this is a big parcel, 11
Yeah,
acres.
yeah. So as of right now, we have an application in for the office building, which is next door, to be converted into, I believe it's 76 units. It's taken a little bit of effort to try to get that in place because at one point it wasn't cost efficient. It was cheaper to take the building down, demolish the building, cart it away. But we've been able to work with Beacon to come up with an execution that allows for the retention of that building. It's a beautiful building, by the way. It's sort of a mid-century modern look and has these beautiful mature pine trees and oak trees around it. But that's going to be that's the next step. And then there is another parcel in this corporate park that Beacon is in the process of trying to get under contract, which will be additional future housing. They don't know yet if it's going to be affordable. They're hoping to get at least a workforce component in it with a little bit more market rate because they'll have a high concentration of affordable on site already. But they're working on that now. So when all this is done, there should be, I would say close to 400 units in total on this particular former corporate campus.
And then Colette, and forgive me. So the 830G that was listed there, I think it was like, as I recall, like 4% or something like that, maybe a little bit more. Does that mean that there's 4% of affordable housing in the town completely? Is that what that means? Okay.
That's my understanding of restricted.
Yeah.
4% restricted.
And can you remind me what's the amount supposed to be at like what time?
10%.
10%. 10% gets you to the exemption, Tim, and then there's a moratorium that you get certain points for the units that you produce in a certain period of time. It's a kind of a complicated calculation, but there's a moratorium where a town under 10% can get relief from the 830G statute.
Okay, thank you.
Well, as we've talked many times, there's no enforcement capabilities for towns not to meet the 10% guideline or goal. So when a town like this, which is way under, has this kind of project, we're all excited because they're going to get closer to their, achieving the 10%.
Yeah, it's my understanding from the developer that the town has actually been very supportive of this project. The location is fantastic. It's right across the street from the, if you're familiar with Avon, it's right across the street from the Whole Foods complex there.
Yeah.
It's adjacent to the trail, the biking and walking trail. And it's very, very proximate to downtown, town halls across the street. It's a beautiful setup.
Interestingly enough, I was at a roundtable today that the majority leader convenes every year right before the session begins, and both the House and the Senate majority leaders and a representative from CHFA is usually invited, as is one from the Department of Housing. And the developer for this development, Beacon, presented, and the topic was 830G. So there was a lot of conversation about what sorts of changes could make 830G more effective, I guess, in creating new housing. And it was interesting because they provided this as an example of a friendly 830G, so one in which the town and the developer kind of work together to, define the terms of the housing and the set asides and stuff like that. It was interesting.
Well, it's not usually the town and the developer, it's the neighbors, right, that are, against or opposed, or at least that's what I've seen,
Agreed.
right?
But
This
but
one
I-
doesn't have neighbors since it was an office park, I guess.
correct. I think it doesn't have proximate residential,
Mm-hmm.
which may largely have kept it safe from some of the,
Mhm.
concerns expressed by town residents, but it was sort of coined as a friendly 830G, like it falls within 830G,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it's not one that the developer's bringing as, sort of saying, well, you need to approve this or
Right.
else. It
Right,
was,
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very
Just
interesting.
an
Heidi?
observation. One more thing, Heidi, on
Go
this.
ahead.
What's really great about this, so we've seen a real turn in commercial real estate and especially office use with a lot of virtual working and people working from home. It's really put a strain on what office buildings are needed where. This is such a great location that the town started negotiating with these developers as an example that could be used in many towns that face this same exact issue. They're behind on what affordable housing they should have. And
Mhm.
this is a great way to do it. You already have the buildings there. They're already in great locations. Now let's see if we could take it from commercial to residential, which is very much needed, especially in these price ranges. So
Right.
it's a real win-win. And hence we're coining the term friendly 830G now, where people use some of that structure in order to push things forward without the threats behind it. And it can be effective, as we see.
Heidi?
Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
Just one additional question. Pat, I don't mean to pick on you, but you mentioned workforce housing.
Yes.
We've talked about that term here in previous years, and it's not really defined, right? It's not defined in legislation or really even in common practice. So I just suggest we should be a little careful unless we're going to define it somehow for our purposes. And it's difficult to define it because most people who live in affordable housing are working. So I worry about calling one part of the spectrum workforce as opposed to the rest of the affordable spectrum. I just wanted to flag that. It's been a few years, I think, since we had that discussion here, but just, important to remember that.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually a middle. When I said workforce, that's the old term. I've been around a long time, Lisa. Pardon me bringing in an old term. It's our middle income. So generally, middle income is thought to be 80 to 120 AMIs. Here with our Build for CT program, our middle income program is 60 to 120 AMI. So that's
Right.
just a faux pas on my part, and I'll be better
No.
about
No. I don't mean to pick on you, as I said, but I
You
do
can
just
pick on me
want
all you want. I misspoke.
I want to flag just one recent piece of data that really leads me to think about that. Some of you are familiar with our ALICE report on households who are asset limited, income constrained, and employed. Our most recent data from 2023 showed that there was an increase from the previous report said 50% of the most common jobs in the state made $20 an hour or less. Our 2023 data suggests that 55% of the most common jobs in Connecticut made less than $20. That's an increase in jobs at relatively low wage rates. And that's our workforce. So that's what I worry about. And Nandini, if you'd allow me, I'd be glad to send the Alice slides if you can distribute them to folks if they haven't yet seen it. Would you be okay doing that?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So Lisa,
terrific.
that puts 55% of the people at or around 60% AMI.
Yeah,
you're saying-
40% of the state not necessarily making enough to make ends meet, is the way we think about it. But I'll send that out. I don't want to bog down in this, but I think it can be problematic not to think more broadly about who's working and what that
Right.
means. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Thanks. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, Dawn?
Sure. Heidi, can I just for clarification, are we doing them separately or together?
I guess we have to do them separately.
Okay, great.
So we'll do it
So
twice.
this is for the 4% round that we're talking
Yes.
about now. Okay, great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinkert,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno, Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Now the other one.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, Tim, thank you.
Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinkert,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno, Matt
Yes.
Puglisi. Oh, thank you. Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the resolution regarding financing for the Judd Homestead at Russo Estates to be presented by Trayvon.
Hello.
Hi.
So the Judd Homestead at Russo Estates, the board action is to approve a construction only loan in amount of approximately 7.5 million in taxable bonds at a rate not to exceed 7.1 with a 24-month term. Construction to perm loan of approximately 2.8 million with a rate not to exceed 7.1 with a 40-year AM and a 37-year term. And opportunity funds, cash flow loan of approximately $1 million with a 24-month interest only period at a 37-year term. The Judd Homestead at Russo Estates received a 9% award of 2025 LIHTC. The development will be new construction, mixed income rental community consisting of 40 units and 5 residential buildings on approximately 2.4 acres in a very high opportunity area of Fairfield. The project will also have a community service / office building included in the project. The developer, Fairfield Housing Corporation, and the consultant, Millennium Development and Consulting Services, both have extensive experience working with LIHTC projects and CHFA. The project has been designed to National Green Build Standard Emerald level. The proposed closing and construction start dates will be 4th quarter of 2025, and the proposed construction completion date will be 2nd quarter of 2027. Moving into the rent structure, as I mentioned, there'll be 40 total units. They're all LIHTC qualified. There'll be 18 one-bedrooms, 16 two-bedrooms, and 6 three-bedrooms. And the 10 30% units will be designated as supportive housing for intellectual disabled clients of the DDS. And the supportive housing units will benefit from rental subsidies through the State Rental Assistance Program. Other considerations, the project will remain affordable for 50 years. The project will benefit from a full-time resident service coordinator on site, and the proposed development aligns with the town of Fairfield's existing plan of conservation and development. Conditions, we're still awaiting executed DOH term sheet and DOH approval of procurement, and we're still waiting for the CHFA Commission appraisal and market study to come in. Take any questions?
I don't have any questions. I will say that I found it interesting that this was 88 cents a credit, and the ones in Avon were like 95 and 93. I suspect they probably could have held out for more, but that's fine. But it was 88 cents a credit, and yet per cost unit was like over 600,000. I mean, obviously I'm gonna vote for this, but I wonder at what point we start to. That's a lot of money.
Tim, it's a common discussion that we have, a common debate that we have. And, maybe I can show you some stuff on the side to help craft how you view these things, because a part of it is how much of our actual dollars are going towards this, how many other resources come in. So, and like this is a Fairfield project So, you know, some of the characteristics of the projects make them a little bit more desirable for location than others. So, but I can work with you and show you some of the different components that come in and how we take a look at this to better understand the cost. You're absolutely right. I think the high that I've seen since I've been back 3 years now is around $750,000 a unit. We also regularly see projects in the $400,000 a unit range. That's total development cost. So that's all in that I'm talking about right now. So yes, we've had these discussions over and over, and we will continue to have them. And it's part of your responsibility as a mortgage committee member to let us know when we've reached your tolerance on these costs.
Oh, I think we're way past tolerance at this point. No, I think I would love to do more of that, Pat. I think ultimately what I'm concerned about is at what point do we get asked questions, like really hard questions, and being able to answer those questions, right? And feel comfortable doing it and being able to help people understand why the cost structure is the way it is. So yeah, I'd love to talk more about it, but I do think it's important for all of us to be able to do that.
Yeah, I just want to just a couple more words. So this is a national issue. So there were some articles that came out recently nationally addressing some of the per unit costs in, I believe it was Arlington, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco. Washington and Arlington were $1 million a unit, and San Francisco was up to $1.2 million. There was also a big push this year, at the beginning of this year, from our national organization, NCSHA, to really look at our QAP to help promote cost containment issues, some guidance on that. So that's part of what we did during the QAP sessions at the beginning of this year, was to look at how we might be able to better influence cost containment. So it's a big issue in the LIHTC industry, and it's an issue that's going to continue to build as these things get more and more expensive to build.
And
one
with the
last thing,
purposes that we have to cover, right? So, but Tim, I'll jump in and just say, we talk about this, we touch on it every meeting, we talk about it every other, I mean, it's just a major focus of ours, and it's tough medicine to swallow, and we constantly look at ways to address it for the reasons that you've said today.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
yes.
So just to add to specifically for this project, Tim, is that prevailing wages in June went up, and several of the trades, like plumbing and a couple of other ones, went up about 300%.
Yeah.
So that really increased tremendously the cost of the construction for this particular project, because it's a housing authority where prevailing wages kicked in. So the trades have said that this is a one time, because they were behind so many years that didn't increase the way that they needed at the level that they needed to be. So we hope that this will stabilize for next year. Every year, the wages, if there are increases, it will change even if a project is on the contract. So we saw it last year when carpenters and a couple of other trades went up about between 30% and 50% from the previous year. So we dealt with that with several developments where we had to cover, the Department of Housing had to cover some gaps that were created in the middle of the projects. So this year we have that again, and hopefully it won't happen again next year.
Thank you.
And it's also why the financing has become so complicated, and there's so many sources, because the people, developers, and the towns are pulling from it as many different sources as possible to make this happen, at whatever cost. It's either that or sit there and don't do anything. So it's a problem.
some of it's structural, like with respect to the tax credit program itself, because
Yes.
we're building in costs on the front end that you would normally not see in market rate development.
Mhm.
And that's partly because these developments don't throw off a tremendous amount of cash and because of the rent structures. And so you're having to build in developer fee, you're having to build in reserves, you're having to build in things that, if you look at the stack, you'll see like there's 200 and something other $1,000 per unit of non-construction costs. It's not an excuse, but I think there's a lot here that adds to the cost, other than just construction costs are also high. But it's definitely worthy of a discussion, and we can perhaps take it up at, we've discussed doing a retreat of the board at some point later this year. And it could be a very, very valuable discussion that we have at that time with you all, and kind of maybe parse it a little bit and look at all the various categories. And we do have some data which we can share with you at that time, and have a more robust discussion.
I think that would be helpful because it's something everyone notices.
Yeah.
And before we leave that subject, Nandini, just looking at the budget, the land cost in Fairfield County is usually a fairly big reason that we see higher costs there. Do we see that reflected here, or this was already owned by the Housing Authority? Apologies.
No, looks like site acquisition is 2.1 million,
2 point. Yep.
which it's not horribly large.
No, it's not, but it's
As sites
50,
go.
it's $52,000 a unit. It's about right.
Yeah. I mean, I think we saw a site acquisition of what, 8 million for one?
8.9 in New Haven.
Actually not be in Fairfield County. So
It was not in Fairfield County.
it's,
Okay.
yeah.
And just one last thing. So
Sure.
we are also, because we have the Build for CT program, we've also seen escalation in the market rate unrestricted development side. So they're up in the 330, 340 per unit range. And as Nandini said, our LIHTC projects build a lot, they front end a lot of the costs. And there are also a tremendous amount of associated soft costs because of all the different attorneys and consultants that are involved in an LIHTC deal. Your market rate unrestricted doesn't have all that. They've got a GC and maybe a partner here and there, but nowhere near the draw on the resources. So, but I think it's a great idea for us to talk through some, and we'll gather some information on a couple of our unrestricted, and we'll compare those to a couple of our LIHTC deals so you can see.
Great. Anybody else? Any other questions for Trayvon? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thanks, Lisa. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I didn't recognize that. Who is that?
Wendy.
Wendy. Thank you. Okay, Dawn.
Wendy Clark.
Yes.
Heidi DeWinkert.
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Aye.
Timothy Hodges.
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno.
Yes.
Matt Puglisi. Lisa Tepper Bates.
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, next we have the resolution regarding the reservation of the income housing, the tax credits for the State and Chapel development to be presented by Stephen.
Good afternoon. The board action is to approve a mutual consent for the return of the 2023 9% low-income housing tax credits allocation, which is in the amount of $1,800,002, and a reallocation for the even amount in 2025. Just to kind of give a brief overview on the background of the project, State and Chapel Development is a 2022 9% LIHTC awardee. The development includes the new construction of one building and the adaptive reuse of 3 former office buildings on 1 acre, which is right in downtown New Haven. And there's a total 76 units and 23,000 square feet of commercial space. In 2023, the development received an approval for the return of credits in 2022 LIHTCs and a reallocation for the 2023 LIHTCs. With that, the place in service deadline is December 31st, 2025. Currently, the development is 52% complete in construction as of August 2025. But the development has encountered construction delays due to various factors such as the site's location, the urban setting, which is causing tight site logistics. There's also historic buildings and difficult subsurface conditions. Due to these construction delays, the developers don't anticipate for the buildings to be placed in service until July 2026, which is past the current deadline of December 31st, 2025. The developer has requested that we consider a return of the 2023 LIHTC allocation in exchange for a 2025 LIHTC allocation, which would be a place in service deadline of December 31st, 2027. We, the multifamily staff, have evaluated the request and determined that the exchange of credits is warranted. I will take any questions.
Well, we're obviously concerned because this is a very long running project. How confident are you that they can finish it?
We're very confident. I'm actually going out there Friday for a topping off event with I think the mayor's going to be there. So they ran into some problems along the way. As it says, they had some logistical problems, getting cranes in there and such. They also had some difficulties right out of the gate with the town, with the building department. So they've overcome all those. They're moving it along now. So we are very confident that they're going to keep the rest of the timeline. So they should be able to deliver by July of 26. This actually gives them all the way through to the end of 27, but don't think that's going to be necessary.
Well, maybe we can get an update in July of 2026 so that we know
Sure.
that it's been done.
Actually, we can provide you an update when it gets completed. So if it gets done before that, we'll do that as well.
Okay.
Just a quick question, Heidi, if I may, and I apologize because I think we've discussed this on previous requests like this, but what happens to the 2023 tax credits that are returned? We're able to still make use of those somehow, yeah?
It's a wash, right, Pat?
Yeah. And we've just so everybody remembers, we've actually changed the way we address this now. Heidi, you had asked why we were bringing, this is an administrative function. And it was asked probably a year ago now, why we were bringing this administrative function to mortgage committee and the board. And so we changed our loan documentation to allow Nandini to address this. But what'll happen is the credits will come back to us. We'll give them 25 credits. The credits that we get will go back into the hopper, and then they'll be reallocated as we move forward with our next round. So it's just an administrative function, but this is what the code requires. They have 2 years to place them in service from when they get them, and they're not going to. They didn't meet it the first time. They knew they weren't going to meet it the first time, so they came in really early, thinking they'd be able to meet this, and now they're not going to meet this. So we're giving them a second. We don't have the ability to say we'll give you 9 more months. We'll give you these credits and give you 9 more months. We can only do it with a 2-year lead time on it. So it's not going to affect us at all.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Greg. Okay, Don?
Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWingert,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, next is just a review of the minutes from our mortgage committee meeting of July 29th. They looked fine to me. Anybody have any questions or changes? None. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I can make such motion.
Okay, thanks,
Claudia.
Claudia. Yep. I can second it. Dawn, can you call the roll?
Of course. Wendy Clark? Wendy, I heard something, but I didn't hear yes.
That was yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Heidi DeWinger.
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Aye.
Timothy Hodges.
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno.
Yes.
Matt Puglisi. Lisa Tepper Bates.
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. And the last item I have, I think, is the report on housing tax credit contribution program rating and ranking results to be presented by Colette.
Great. So yes, I'm here to provide a report on the 2025 HTCC program rating and ranking results. The HTCC program is the Housing Tax Credit Contribution Program. This is a state tax credit program. Vouchers are issued to business firms who make contributions to eligible projects. Eligible applicants are nonprofit corporations, and the programs must benefit low and moderate income households. CHFA administers this program for the Department of Revenue Services. There are 10 million in tax credits available annually. There is a 1 million set aside for workforce housing. And Lisa, I thought your point was really well said, and I hadn't really thought of it that way. But just to be clear, for HTCC, workforce housing we define as households or individuals who live and work in the municipality, or live and work in the same municipality. There is also a 2 million set aside for supportive housing, and all of the funds must be used for the development of rental, home ownership, or rehabilitation of housing, and to capitalize revolving loan funds. This year, non-LIHTC deals were prioritized in the general class, and this was to improve access to resources for developments and nonprofits that otherwise may not come to CHFA for resources. We had 22 applications that were requesting approximately 10.5 million, and these applications were rated and ranked. The results, we will be able to issue reservations to 20 applicants, and that will be in an amount awarded of 9,670,675 in credits. We had 2 applications removed from consideration. One was deemed substantially incomplete, the application, and one applicant was not in compliance with their eligibility policy. One applicant was awarded under the workforce housing set aside. This was Housing Development Fund. They will continue their Live Where You Work down payment and closing cost assistance program. We have 4 applicants that were awarded under the supportive housing set aside, and this includes Open Door Shelters. They're constructing 5 new units of supportive housing in Norwalk. The Connection Fund will be making capital improvements to Jefferson Commons. This is a 12-unit building in New London. Columbus House will address capital needs at Green Court. This is a 14 supportive housing units in Middletown. And St. Vincent de Paul in Middletown, they have demolished an existing building and they're constructing 40 new units of supportive housing in Middletown as well. Highlights include, we have 2 awardees that will be capitalizing revolving loan funds. We have 6 that will create new home ownership opportunities. 4 will create new rental housing units, and 8 will improve existing affordable rental housing. Since the full 10 million amount was not awarded, CHFA is planning to administer a supplemental round so that we can deploy the remaining approximately 329,000 of 2025 HTCC funds. We will also include approximately 1 million in returned HTCC funds, and this is comprised of largely comprised of 2 projects that were canceled that could not move forward. So we have approximately 1.3 million that we're looking to deploy in a supplemental round. And I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Well, just to ask, so that's interesting. Workforce housing is defined very specifically here and different from what we were talking about earlier. But how do you make sure that people who are renting are both employed and planning to live in the same place? How do they implement that practically?
So this set aside has really.
Can hear you.
Something happened to your mic,
Yeah,
Colette.
we can't hear you, Colette.
Can you hear me?
Sometimes you just have, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So historically, we've only had HDF take advantage of the set aside, and they do the home ownership, the down payment and closing cost assistance. We have not had anyone come through for rental, but I agree, like that we've had a lot of discussions about how we would monitor that. So it is something that hasn't happened in real life yet, but it is something that we would monitor since this is a set aside. It's something that we would want to verify with them.
So,
And Colette, this workforce term is from the statute, correct?
It comes out of the statute and the procedures, correct?
Yeah.
So Colette, I'm sorry, Tim, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, you go.
Oh, no, I was just asking Colette, so when HDF does their down payment assistance program, which is, I think it's called Live Where You Work or.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Do we check to, like, are we actually checking to see if they're making loans in accordance with the money, or we're just assuming that that's what they're doing?
So on their quarterly reports, they provide us a list of the loans that they have closed on, and they're required to indicate where the community that they work in and the community that the home was purchased in. So, and then sometimes we'll do follow up and we'll ask for verification to confirm that they're checking employment status.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Colette, please forgive me because you've probably included this in the report that I did not read. And I'm sorry about that. So it's $10 million total, right?
Yep.
All of it did not get utilized. Is that what I heard from you?
Yeah, so we had fewer applications than we typically see, so we weren't able to get the full 10 million out on this first round. So obviously that is not ideal. We want to see the resources get out. So what we'll be doing here soon is issue a notice for a supplemental round. We did have some additional funds that have been returned, so it makes it a little bit more worth the while, so we can hopefully get another 3 projects funded under this supplemental round and get the remaining of the 10 million out.
So is it normally $10 million? Is that pretty standard?
Yes.
And does it normally get utilized?
Yeah.
Okay. And do we know why it didn't get utilized this year? Any sense?
That's a really good question. I can tell you that from when I've been running the program, I see it's almost like it goes up and down. Like one year we'll get so many, and then maybe people get discouraged and then they don't come back. And so I do see it actually dip like every other year. So we do try and stay in communication with folks, make sure that folks know that they can call us if they have questions, if they're interested in applying. So we do try and keep that communication open with folks. And we're always kind of, any interactions with new nonprofits, we try to make sure that they know about the program.
And if I recall correctly, there's a maximum for is 150,000 for
500,000 per nonprofit.
But how about in terms of companies who, for lack of a better term, are the sponsors? Is there a maximum there?
Per nonprofit, they can't apply for more than one project.
He's talking about the credit. He's talking about the credit buyers, and no, there's no limitation. As a matter of fact, every year these credits are all purchased by one investor.
Okay.
Mostly, yep.
Okay.
Mostly one investor.
Thank you.
And Tim, we're only short about $300,000 this year. Yeah. We also installed. We did some major facelift on this program over the past couple of years. It started to get utilized in ways that weren't really in concert with the intention of the program. And so we adjusted it a little bit to disincentivize gap funding for LIHTC deals. So that might be why you're seeing a little bit of a retraction in terms of the interest in the program, but we'll be building it back up, and really like the concept of this supplemental round to try to deploy monies that we've recaptured in this last 300. And just so everybody knows, if we only get like $500,000 against the 1.3, the $300,000 of remaining 2025 credits will be the first thing out the door. And then we'll start to work into what's been returned to us, because we have a lot more freedom with that in terms of disbursement of deployment.
And do
Thank
we
you.
worry about the budget not approving this 10 million? I mean, these funds every year?
We worry.
I mean,
We always worry.
Yeah, but so far we have it allocated for this year.
Yes.
Yes, we've received them already for this year, and I mean, these have been around for a long time. They've made it through many administrations. Again, this is a state tax credit, not a federal. So we're pretty comfortable that these are going to be around for a while. And we've had years where these were undersubscribed, but we've also had years where they've been woefully oversubscribed. So
Okay.
Colette's done a fantastic job both with the program and with this particular round. And this will be the first supplemental we're doing in a while, if ever, right?
Pat, just one quick thing. I think if I'm right, and Claudio, you would know, this is not actually a budget item. This would be a tax expense. So it doesn't fall into the same category as a lot of the items that are going to come under the fiscal controls or the so-called guardrails.
Yeah, this is revenue side.
Nodding.
Which I think makes it less
Lisa, that
subject to
is right.
change.
I mean, it's not an item of appropriation, so it wouldn't fall under the budget cap for appropriated funds.
Okay, great, good to know. Okay, any other questions for Colette? Okay, I don't think we have to vote. I think that was for information, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. Is there anything else? Any other items? None? Okay, thank you, everybody. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks. Is there a second?
It's Claudio, I'll second it.
Thank you. Everybody in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Talk to you all on Thursday.
Always a wonderful discussion.
See everybody Thursday.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.